Welcome to the Mawazo Ideas podcast, where we delve into the inspiring journeys and groundbreaking research of African women researchers shaping the future of the continent. Previously known as the Nairobi Ideas podcast, the Mawazo Ideas podcast goes beyond the research, featuring untold stories from brilliant African women researchers from across the continent. We delve into their everyday realities, their challenges and triumphs, and the solutions they are pioneering for a brighter African future. So tune in every week to explore their innovative ideas, discuss their impact on the continent's development, and celebrate African women's contribution to academia, innovation, and society at large.
Welcome, everybody, to Season 7 of the Mawazo Ideas podcast. I'll be one of your hosts for today, Aisha Mogo, the Research Officer here at Mawazo Institute.
And I'm Sylvia Mwendia, the Voices Program Officer here at Mawazo Institute. And in this episode, we'll be looking at the youth in academia from the perspective of one of our own, a Mawazo Fellow in 2018, Dr. Elizabeth Benson. Dr. Elizabeth Benson has a PhD in computer science. She is a lecturer at Dedan Kimathi Institute, and she mentors young girls in information technology and computer science. Karibu Daktari.
Thank you.
So to begin of Dr. Elizabeth, please could you tell us about your academic journey? We know you've had quite an interesting one, rather.
My name is Elizabeth Benson. I hold a PhD in computer science, a master's degree in information technology management, and a bachelor's degree in computer science. So just a brief history about my academic journey. I studied at a rural place. That's where I did my primary education, at a very remote place called Itumo village in Kibwezi East constituency. And then that time I proceeded to high school. And then at high school is when I got to study computer studies from Form 1. That is St. Joseph's Girls High School, Kibwezi. So while studying computer studies in high school, I got some interest in computer science. But what really helped me to navigate to do a degree in computer science is that time I realized that we had only one male teacher who was teaching us computer studies. And it was so difficult to consult him, especially at night during the prep or the evening studies, because he was only one, and then he was male, and we were all girls, and you could not consult a male teacher in the lab at night. So because of that challenge, I promised myself that when I go to campus, or if I score well, I'll go study computer studies or computer science, and then go back to high school and teach computer studies so that I can help other girls. So I got good marks and then went to campus to study computer science. And then when I graduated from Kabarak University with a first class honors degree in computer science, I got a scholarship immediately to do a master's degree in information technology management at the University of Sunderland. And then I transited just directly to do the master's. And then when I graduated with my master's degree the year 2012, I got a job again immediately with Barclays Absa. And then now I started my PhD again after a short time, that is the year 2014. And that time I'm starting my PhD in 2014 at Jomo Kenyatta University. I'm already married. So I got married at the year 2012. So 2014, I'm moving to do a PhD in information technology at Jomo Kenyatta University. And then now I did that first PhD 2014 to 2019. To cut the whole story short, I did not graduate, but I managed to complete the PhD, but unfortunately I did not graduate because of supervisor issues. Actually, I could not graduate. Still, when I was nearing completion, they came up with supervisor issues, and my supervisors dropped me. And then when they dropped me the year 2019, I was left trying to navigate what do I do next. And because my aim is able to get a PhD and to support a woman outside there, I went to Strathmore University, registered for a new PhD in computer science the year 2020, and I managed to complete the PhD and graduated this year in June. So in between this long story that I've cut so short, the year 2016, an idea came up through the support from Mawazo Institute to start a young girls program. And this young girls program was backed from the dream of the challenges I got when I was in high school of studying computer studies without having a mentor or someone to consult. Yeah, I know I'll talk more about the girl program in this broadcast. So yeah, so that is my academic journey. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. I mean, there's so much you've shared about, the start and stop of your PhD journey. And I think for a lot of people who are maybe interested in understanding what comes up and the timings of things, could you maybe go a little bit more into detail about that transition that you made from your master's into the PhD? And I think you mentioned that you worked in ABSA for a while. Was this something that you had planned, that you had wanted to maybe put a stop to your education, work a little bit, and then go into your PhD? Or did you want to transition all the way directly into your PhD from your master's?
So I'm one person who is very opportunistic and very hardworking. So when I got my bachelor's degree, one of the challenges I was encountering that time is limited funding to do the master's degree. Because at that time, my parents are looking at me like, we funded your undergraduate, and now that you have a first class, and we are looking at you to work and have some experience. So I got a job actually luckily with Barclays ABSA then. That is the year 2009, all the way to 2013. So 2009, I'm getting a job with Barclays ABSA, and then I'm getting a scholarship with Commonwealth scholarships to do my master's degree. And then now that degree was being done in Jomo Kenyatta University, but the teaching were all done from Sunderland and coordination from Sunderland. So the Barclays ABSA job was done in Nairobi, and then I had to move all the way from Nakuru to Nairobi. And now I come and I start working as a banker, information technology specialist, but I can't just stop because as much as we aspire to grow in our career, we also have to know that we have to upgrade our papers. The scale has got to involve upscaling our papers. So I'm working with ABSA at the same time doing the master's degree at the same time. So I was doing evening classes and weekend classes and research when I'm working full time. So I graduated with my master's in the year 2012. And at that time, I realized that I needed to do a PhD, and a PhD research involves a lot of academia work. And that is when now I decided to shift from banking. So I got a job the year 2013 with Dedan Kimathi University as an assistant lecturer then. And then now the transition to lecturing prompted me to start thinking of how I can join now doing a PhD. So in my whole journey, career journey involves both upscaling the papers and upscaling the career growth. Yeah, up to today.
Wow, thanks so much, Dr. for that very thoughtful journey and very extensive, and congratulations on all you've been through. Upon graduating your PhD, it seems that you wear many hats and you wear many roles.
Absolutely.
You're lecturing, you're mentoring girls, and also from previous conversations, we aware that you have experience in organizing deep learning endeavors. Please tell us about the various roles you play in the research ecosystem.
Yeah, so I have really been active in organizing many deep learning conferences and machine learning conferences. And most of all these engagements are voluntary. And the reason I get myself involved in them is that so that I can make sure that I hold the hand of someone or scholars who at least are scaling up also from a point that I've already achieved that. So I'm more involved in organizing data science conferences, machine learning conferences, which now one of them is Deep Learning IDABA conference. So my journey with Deep Learning IDABA conference is a long one. I go to learn that conference through Mawazo Institute. I do appreciate the work Mawazo Institute does, because you publish the opportunities and then you hold our hands as scholars in letting us understand or get the skills that are required in applying for these opportunities. Yeah, and then also you are a very strong a network or a strong support in mentoring us help as young researchers. So now I'm involved in organizing these conferences locally and internationally. There are so many I listed all in my service, but you'll find me engaged in conferences that are touching biomedical engineering, machine perception, image processing, especially in deep learning. So anything in deep learning and is on more on computer vision, you'll find my name there, or machine learning, deep learning, and data science conferences. Yeah, so that's what I'm engaged in. And I always ensure that we support young scholars, we mentor them to understand on how to apply for these conferences and how to actually grab these opportunities altogether. Yes.
Thank you. And it
Yes.
seems that mentorship is something very important to you, especially for young girls. Please tell us more about Josa Technologies, how that came to be, and what role you play in with Josa Technologies, even in the larger research ecosystem.
Yeah, so as I bring that point, let me also add something that as a lecturer at Dedan Kimathi University, I've been working there for the past 11 years. And other than teaching, I always hold a lot of sessions with our students, both female and male. And what I've realized in academia is these students really want to learn, but they're navigating in a space of how do I become? So I always hold sessions out of class to motivate them, to show them the opportunities, to mentor them. Sometimes we have to run through the class notes again, so that other than them being in class, they can also start seeing themselves as people who can cause change in our environments. So now to Josa Technologies and Consultancy. This is a software developing company based in Nairobi, Kilimani. Our offices are in Kilimani. And other than developing softwares for our clients, we have a very interesting program of mentoring young girls who have a passion in computing. So I founded this program the year 2016. And the aim here was to go back to the village and support these girls who have a vision in becoming scientists, but they are lacking mentors. So the program gathers girls based in rural areas and slums who have that passion in pursuing science, especially in computer science. And then we put them into a class. We teach them basic computer programs, and then now we move maybe to an advanced phase of software development. And girls who get the concept so well, we give them internship at the company, the Josa Technologies and Consultancy. Yes. So the program was founded the year 2016, and then we have it's a big network now at the moment. Yes.
Around how big is the network currently?
So at the moment we have 400 students who within the program, those who've completed the program. And the best thing about this program is the graduates from it are our teachers. So we don't strain a lot. We have those who are mentors, and these teachers have groupings. There are those who are mentoring these girls in knowing how to get conferences at their young age to attend, and those who are teaching basic programs in computer science, and those who are just motivators and mentors to be there on social lives, to the girls.
That's really incredible to hear. And I can also see the passion that you have for Josa Technologies. And I think with that, with the years that it's been running and 400 students as well, 400 to push 400 girls through is not easy, I can imagine. So with that, would you have like any memorable moments of having the network, or if there's any story of impact that you'd share with us about maybe a specific girl or someone who has kind of gone through the system and where they are today?
Yeah, so okay, I would like to answer that, but there's some I have the key specific achievements,
Yeah.
where I will speak about maybe 2 or 3, but before then I want to speak about a memorable moment for the program.
Yeah.
And this was the over COVID time. So over COVID time, there was a publication that came out that our girls were becoming more pregnant or getting expectant because of the stay at home. And then we decided to go and hold a program in Kibwezi, just to gather the girls and talk to them. It was not easy because gathering people over COVID was not easy. So that time we got a huge hall and the girls were really eager to come and hear what we have to say. And the program was well organized. But now during that time, we got about 500 boys who had come with buses, not girls. They came and decided to stay outside the hall.
Wow.
And their voice was, "You're doing a very good job with the girls. What about us boys? We want to learn. We want science." And that was a big challenge to us. And that is the time now we started a program about boys.
Okay.
So the program about boys was not birthed because it was in us.
Yeah.
It was birthed by boys who just decided to come and attend the girls program without our notice.
Yeah.
And they just said, okay, we also need to
Something.
be involved in this program. And we do understand that as mothers, you've given birth to boys like us. So we just embraced them and we brought boys to us.
That's
It was
incredible.
a very emotional moment.
That's truly incredible.
Yeah. So back now to the key achievements. We have some of our mentors who are now training in the program are graduates from the program. So I have a student pursuing engineering at Strathmore University, a bachelor's degree at Strathmore University. She's at year 4. She's one of the mentors in a conference. So she mentors the young girls on conferences and training on conferences. So our role there in the program is to be online, looking for opportunities on conferences, bringing them to the network, holding sessions with the girls on the conferences and helping them to know how they can get these opportunities.
Yeah.
And also trying to work with other institutions who are busy engaged in similar programs and trying to create a link between ourselves and themselves. And then we have another key success out of this program. We have a girl who decided to do law.
Okay.
Remember, when they graduate from this program, we allow them pursue whichever career they want and their dream. So she's pursuing law at Kabarak University, and she's one of our mentors in the program.
Fantastic.
Yes. And then we have now the boys program that seems to be starting, but the boys program is coming up so strongly. I don't know, this thing that boys always will appear more aggressive or more active in more spaces than girls. So that program is launched 2 years down the line, but is coming out more strongly, actually more than what we've been doing. So we have the boys looking like they understand what we've been doing, and they're asking us, what else can we do in this? Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting, that, boys are, of course, showing up in a specific way. So do you think that there's something that Josa Technologies can also do to maybe bring this out of girls as well, kind of bring out this aggression, or rather this will to learn and to know more?
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot that we can do, and I think just the link or the difference comes in the matters of confidence.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just get to know that if you're confident, you will be able to navigate and do things that even you did not even know at the first place. So I've realized through the boys program that is coming up, I've realized that I have to come up with a program more on building the girls' confidence
and self-esteem.
Yes, and stepping out in spaces that they have never been. Because it's not that boys know more about science than the girls, but it's more on having confidence that I can speak. I can lead others. Yeah, that's what I'm pulling out from the boys program. So now what we're coming up, other than now computer science and science, is coming up with a program on training the girls on public speaking and being able to stand out and speak about science or speak about life, just general issues. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing, and I'm really loving hearing all the great things you're doing at Josa Technologies. Now, with having even 400 girls having gone through the program, I can imagine resources is a key part of it. Perhaps you could share with us how you go about fundraising and really just supporting the programs you have at Josa Technologies, and what does that look like, within the research ecosystem which you also participate in? Any key learnings, challenges? We'd love to hear that.
Okay. So finances and fundraising, to be honest, to us, has not been a problem.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Because this project is not owned by Josa Technologies. It's a community type of project. So now the approach we got was approaching individuals who are based in different companies. And these individuals involve politicians, cabinet secretaries, the local area chief, researchers, lecturers. 2016 up to now, we have a pool of lecturers teaching in many universities in the program. So their work is to teach. So where we began was lecturers would come with their laptops, and we could use their laptops to teach. So Joshua could just hire the hall and provide lunch. And then the lecturers would come with their devices and we could set up. That's how we began. And then now, as we kept going on, the member of parliament and people around the region, the governor, people could, and the senators, the local area chief started hearing about this program, and people started jumping in, not to give us funding or to give us money, but to ask us, what can I do? What can my office do? So we run it so easily, and the success comes out so nicely because of agent makers or change makers who are actively involved in it. Some of these members of parliament, and like you can find maybe a governmental representative from a different county coming to support us from afar. Yes. So we meet with these people in meetings like this, and then now they say, okay, what can I do? So fundraising has not been a problem, not because we get really money, but we get the human resource of people just coming to bring item by item until we get there. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. I'm just just reflecting. That's amazing and encouraging to hear. And I think it really speaks even to who you are as a person, even your networking skills, to be able to pull in such a great network of people who are so willing to really support and help. Yes, Aisha?
Sure. And I wanted to ask, from your PhD journey and from Joshua as well, have there been any learnings maybe from your own PhD journey that you've been able to implement into your program with Joshua?
Okay, let me just say that I graduated with my PhD this year, and there are so many lessons actually I learned throughout the entire PhD journey, and I have the lessons, and I'm really working to implement them slowly by slowly. So I can't say like I've implemented any of the challenges I saw while navigating through the PhD. But there's already visions that I have. And there are many, actually, because one of them ranges on the matters of age, the age of what time do you start your PhD, and then also versus the funders, because the funders and for postgraduate are looking at age. And as you've heard that I started my first PhD the 2014, and then after studying for 4 years, I did not graduate 2019, and then you've heard that I started another PhD the year 2020, and I graduated the year 2023, and by the time I was starting the first PhD the year 2020, I was applying for funding and grants, and some of the funders were asking me, how old are you? Where have you been exactly? And yes, so there's that navigation of women for postgraduate studies in the dimension of raising families and the age, and the funders are also very careful and sensitive to age, because I do guess, or I do know that funders would like to fund someone who has time for their studies.
Yes.
And that's why age is a very critical thing for many funders. So it's not that funders have issues with funding women or men who are old, but they have issues on the age that you're in. Are you sure you have time for your studies? Yes. So when they say 35 and below or 40 and below, so there's that thing that they're focusing on. Do you have time for these studies? Because a lady has so much going now around their lives.
Absolutely.
So one of the things that I went through while doing my PhD is raising children, getting my babies. So in the first PhD, 2014, 2019, I got my 2 sons. And navigating through raising a young family, getting children, sticking to the PhD, leaving my children home, going to do a lot of conferences in South Africa was not easy.
Yes.
But one of the key lessons I learned in that PhD is a tough project. I want to be honest. It's a very tough project. It requires determination. It requires someone creating time for it. It requires someone setting everything aside and focusing on it. PhD is like a baby you have to feed in every single day. And if you don't feed that baby, the baby will die. I know there are people who are working and studying at the same time, raising children at the same time studying. It's okay to do that, but make sure that after every 3 days, you are on that book and you stick on it. So if you keep your PhD studies aside for 2 weeks and come back to it, you lose it.
Gone.
You lose it. It's gone. So you must look at it after every 3 days. So one of the lessons I would like to speak to both men and women outside there is you need, if you're in a family, you need to organize on when can you get your children, when can you raise them to a point that when you embark on this journey for the PhD, you'll be raising them not like you're nursing them, because those are 2 huge projects, but at least the children, you will be able to raise them and put a lot of efforts on the PhD. So one of the things I need to implement in Joasha now is support for women who are raising children at the same time doing their PhDs, because there's some mentorship or some talk that is not in existence in the market space on that. Because you get a child when you're doing PhD at the same time, there will be an imbalance to the PhD. And there's a lot of mentorship required of that phase. And then the second and the last thing that I would like to implement in Joasha, and maybe not really in Joasha, but maybe at Dedan Kimathi University or another institution that I'll work with or for in the future, is there lacks a study space for people doing PhDs to meet and converge and do research together. Like a room like this where people can walk in with their laptops and like to have also an online platform where people know who is working on what and where they can meet and do discussions and research. So there's such hubs are missing, especially within the African continent.
Yeah.
Yes. So I look forward to implementing that.
Absolutely. I mean, the things that you have brought up are pertinent conversations that are constantly happening at the Mawazo Institute.
Absolutely.
And especially as we reflect on our Status of African Women in Research report, the things that have started to come out in that report is that age is such a pertinent thing, because funders are always looking for early stage researchers, right? But what does that actually mean? Especially when we know the realities of early age or early stage researchers doesn't always apply to the African woman, right? You have your family, you have other responsibilities that come up. So you do not necessarily fall into the steps of research like the average person would, maybe as a man would. And these are things that we are constantly also contesting with at Mawazo Institute. And how can we begin to rethink what we consider age? Because you may be older, but you're early stage career researcher. So it's always just about reflecting on what that means for us as African women. What does that mean for the research ecosystem that we want to be a part of? And how can we begin to make it more inclusive of the different stages that women come in to do their PhD?
Thank you for those insightful thoughts, Aisha, and what we are doing at Mawazo Institute to support African women researchers. Now, Dr. just going back to, you shared so many nuggets of wisdom, and I'm just wondering, at the beginning of your PhD, whether the first or the second, because it seems like you hold two.
Yeah.
What advice would you have loved to receive, or maybe nuggets of wisdom would you have loved to receive? Do you think maybe it would have impacted your journey and maybe you help navigate it differently? And perhaps is there any of that advice, would you be able to pass it on to the work you're doing at Josa Technologies?
Yeah, there's a lot I did not know. But before I say that, let me first, before I forget, appreciate Mawazo Institute. When my first PhD failed, the year 2019, that PhD was funded by Mawazo Institute. And part of my fees was paid by Mawazo Institute. Actually, Mawazo Institute cleared my fees so that I can graduate. And immediately that fees was cleared, the graduation bounced. Things just went away the last minute. And what I did not know is mentorship while doing PhD. I had no idea the power that mentorship can do, and that's what you do in Mawazo Institute. You have your program and you have the mentors. So had I had mentors in the first PhD, I would have known what to do in such a crisis. Yeah, and the thing here is, what do you do when your supervisors are not available for consultation? Where do you get support to learn how to write an academic paper when your supervisors are not providing that assistance? Because that is what is happening in many public universities. When you go to private universities, the case of Strathmore University, the lecturers or the supervisors there, they work hand in hand with you, teaching you what to do, what to place on, how to do it. And that's why I was able to graduate within 3 years. So now, what I would see happen is the mentorship during PhD journey, and especially for students pursuing their PhDs in Africa public universities. Yes, there is need for mentor, for someone who will come in, hold your hand, not really being the supervisor, but being on the back end, trying to guide you on some of these things the supervisors are not doing. Yeah, because they're supervising many students and they have other assignments, and you're determined and you don't know what to do. And that's what Mawazo Institute is doing. So, hi, plus other people you've supported, plus now the world, I would just speak to everybody outside there to come and also support you as an institute or other institutions outside there to bring this dream into realization, because you cannot do it alone. You need now as the graduates. Yes, we will be there to work in your programs as mentors or anything else you feel we can do to hold the hand of another scholar. Yeah.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much for those again wise words. That's what keeps coming to mind with your wealth of experience and your journey. Right. And I don't know, would you have any other reflections you'd like to share regarding your journey, mentorship, and yes, just the whole PhD experience?
Yeah, I think I've said it all, but maybe the last thing is to speak to your funders or the people who've caused your programs come into realization. It has always been my dream or prayer, yeah, to see as many funders as possible coming to support Mawazo Institute programs. The work that you do causes a lot of change, but I do also know that you don't have enough funding to reach out to as many women as possible. So I would plead, or I would just have a personal plea to as many funders as possible to come and support Mawazo Institute programs, because it has really caused a huge impact in our lives. Through Mawazo Institute, I've got to know machine learning or deep learning conferences. This year, 2024, I was one of the general chairs at the Deep Learning IDABA conference, and I got into that network the year 2018. That opportunity was shared to me by Eileen Mungai, who is working for Mawazo Institute. She mentored me, she guided me on how to apply for that opportunity. And I attended that conference in South Africa as an attendee 2018. From that time, 2019, all the way to now, I've been able to work with Deep Learning Idaba as an accommodation chair, 2019, 2020 all the way to 2022 as the chair for travels, then 2024 as one of the general chairs, and many other conferences and activities. Mawazo Institute was the first institute that funded my travel out of the country. So I had no money, I had no funding, I could not travel by my own out of the country to meet other researchers and do a collaboration. So it is through Mawazo Institute I got that space. And today, the many work I do in mentoring young girls and supporting other scholars, I got all this capacity from Mawazo Institute. So I would, and this is now Elizabeth one person. I'm imagining of the many other scholars Mawazo Institute have supported their success stories. So I would urge as many funders as possible to bring in funding, support Mawazo Institute, because they're really causing change, and the change they're causing is also reaching out to as many girls and many other scholars as possible. Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Elizabeth. I don't know if there are any additions you may have, Aisha?
No, I just wanted to say thank you so much, Dr. Elizabeth, for taking the time to speak with us. But also, hearing your story is what makes us wake up every day to do our job.
Absolutely.
So working with women like yourself who are so passionate about the things that you do and the impact that you're striving to make on the continent is the reason we do what we do as well. So we feed into each other, we pour into each other. So we also want to thank you for being one of our shining stars here at Mawazo Institute. And we'd also like to thank our audience for listening in. This has been the Mawazo Ideas podcast. Thank you so much, Dr. Elizabeth, for being with us, and for sharing your wonderful, wonderful insights. Asante sana.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you.